Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with a collection of things I have made from one of my favourite YouTubers, Odulcina Scrap Ann. I've got quite a few of her kits, so I decided I would make a few things up and then just, well, show you in case you wanted to go and buy some. The first things I'm actually showing, I didn't have to buy. I think it was during the pandemic, I can't remember. She gave this printable kit away as a giveaway. I think it was for reaching so many subscribers, something like that. So I finally, 4.5 years later, got around to making the things up with it. I can't wait to try these into a journal. So I'll just go through each one separately. I'll start with these. So this was on one page and it was all these sorts of strips like this that you could cut out. You could obviously use them as a bookmark or a journaling card. I just love them. So some I've topped with like bits of fabric and lace. They've all been backed. This is also part of her kit, this beautiful blue. Some I've just sewn around and left like that, ready to journal on. One I've popped a little punch in the top, so I might decide to pop some ribbon through or something. And that one's very simply got a little motif there. They're so lovely. So they would go obviously into a thin pocket on a journal page. I did try and get a journal ready to show you. I haven't actually got a pocket on here, but let's pretend as usual. You could stick it, glue it on the side of a page and it could be a tuck, or if you did have a thin pocket, you could just slide it in. Love those, and obviously quite a lot really if your writing's quite small to journal on. So that was one. And then another idea she gave was, can I show it you? Yeah. So another idea she had was, instead of using these whole, was that you could rip them, tear them, and then use parts of them. So you can see, I mean, I've already used half of that one again. I used this on something else, which I'll show you in a minute. But you rip these off, and I like that just like that, because I did think, you know what, I'd probably staple that with a mini staple to the top of a page, and then that could be a little tuck by itself. So don't waste anything. But anyway, so what these actually made was, once you'd teared them down, let's use this as an example. So this was the whole one. You tear it across there and you end up with this amount here, you see. And then what she'd done was make these little scrappy pads with the front of the little thin journaling cards, bookmarks, whatever you want to call them, as the actual focal point on the front of the pads. So they've all been stitched across. She chose black and I actually went with the black as well. And she said, because it picked up quite a lot, this kit, although it's so pretty, it does have bits of black in and it just really packs a punch, I think. So added a bow on that one, a little bit of my, I love this, spotty tulle. Lots of scrappy pads. Some you might rip out and decorate, some you might write on. Obviously there's the bike one, the top of the market stall. Simply says floricultural cabinet. I think she's Canadian. She's definitely speaks French, so I think she's Canadian, Odulcina Scrap Ann. But they make beautiful little scrap pads. Then in the same kit you also get these little I don't know if you can see because I've popped lace on the bottom of them, but they're basically like pretend Polaroids. So you get like a bit of a frame at the bottom. So on each one of these I just popped a bit of lace. Obviously they're all backed, so you would write on them as a journaling card, but I love these. They're so pretty. Let's bring the journal back in. So, I mean, it is a shame this hasn't actually got any pockets, but if it had, you could stick it in a pocket. I think I would probably, with these, let's pretend that was a tuck up the top. I think what I'd do is I'd use these as something to tuck up there. The reason being, because you still see the pretty bottom lace. Whereas obviously if it was a tuck at the bottom and you were tucking that in, it's okay, but you don't see it. So, or they could just go on a page as a tuck themselves and then stick something under there. Just so enjoyable to play. I think that's the whole thing of it, play. And then the last thing in the kit is these postcards, which I've also backed with some of the other paper from the kit. Obviously these could be just a journaling card, stick in a pocket, or if I've got a page wide enough, I don't want to use it on there. let's pretend that was a blank page. You could actually stick that on the bottom, glue, 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 and have that as a pocket, which you would then, you know, stick something else in. So many things to play with. I just really, really enjoyed this kit, and I will link her channel down below if you would like to have a play yourself. Then one of the kits, I have bought a lot from her, but one of the kits I did buy off her on Etsy was this, what does she call this? I think it's a bag swatch top, something like that. I will link this video down below where she shows you things she makes from them. But basically they're sheets of these pretend like bag toppers, and you just print them out. I printed this on some like art book page because I really like the matte and quite a textured finish, and it's just a nice weight. So obviously you print them out and then you cut them out, and so obviously what you're left with is that sort of a thing. And then what have I made with these? Well, her video is very inspiring. So obviously they're intended as a bag topper. So you just fold it over the top of a bag, paper clip it on. You decorate up this if you want to. So I've just popped some trim and a bit of a crochet lace thing there, just like a little thing. Just because if you were to receive something in that bag, you'd be, before you've even looked at the contents, it's quite exciting, isn't it? So that's one idea, obviously, to use as bag toppers. Then she also used them to top some of these like scrappy pads. Where you would use these, stick them in a journal, but then you can write on all of this or use the paper. So I think they make brilliant. I glued these on, but I think they make really great little toppers for scrappy pads that just look so gorgeous. Obviously some, envelope topper. Now I hadn't got any of the right size envelopes to show for this one. Because I accidentally printed these too small. But anyway, pretend that was a small bag. That's another idea. I've got a little mini clip there. You take that off, and that's obviously how you make the topper. Pop that on the top, so you could put it on an envelope, seal a bag, pop your little clip there. And then obviously another idea, just to make it even prettier, is instead of just popping a paper clip on, you make some altered paper clips. So obviously I've altered that one with some fabric. Pop that on there, and again, before you've even opened that bag, you'd be like intrigued as to what was in there. This one just decorated up differently. It's again altered paper clip, but I'd probably put, if you were giving somebody buttons or a sewing theme journal, something like that. Oh, that's made its way in by mistake. And there we are at the end. So this was all Odulcina Scrap Ann. I will link her channel down below if you'd like to go and make any of these things. She makes very, very pretty things. But I hope I've done justice to her kits. And that's all for now. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.